I'm going to play a classical guitar piece, and it's a real simple, really old classical guitar piece, and it's probably one of the most famous classical guitar pieces, and it's generally referred to as Spanish Ballad, and it's really not a difficult piece to play, but it's really beautiful. And the thing that's kind of neat about it is nobody knows who wrote it. And nobody knows what the real title is either. It's one of those songs like Green Sleeves. It's just so old and been played forever that probably some, I don't know, some guitar teacher in Spain years ago made it up to teach his students how to play lyrically, because it's very lyrical, but it's pretty easy. And it's probably the most, when I play classical guitar, it's the most requested song I get. And it's just really interesting that no one knows who wrote it or who, or what the title really was. I wonder what the title originally was. It was probably just Study in E minor or something like that. But the classical guitar actually was a dead instrument up until sometime around 1900 or so. And it had completely faded from ever being played just because it wasn't practical, because it was so quiet. And concerts generally were in concert halls and with full symphony orchestras, and there was just no way for the guitar to be heard in the auditoriums, or especially when the orchestra started playing. And the reason why was guitarists had always traditionally played with no fingernails, just really short or no fingernails at all, because it makes a more beautiful lyrical sound with no fingernails, but the problem is there's no volume. So the concerts that people could have for classical guitar were always just like 5 or 10 people, because it was just so quiet. And then there was kind of an underground of guitarists who grew their fingernails long, like what I have here, and to increase the volume. There was a compromise in the tone, but it just increased the volume substantially. And a guy named Andres Segovia, who's kind of the father of modern classical guitar, that was his big thing, was he said, no, I know it's a compromise, but we gotta grow our fingernails long. And he started playing with the fingernails, and he played really quite loud because of this fingernails, and he had a lot of hand strength, and it made it a prominent instrument. And in his lifetime, he made it a prominent instrument again, to where now it's one of the most popular classical instruments again, where when he started playing it, really, it's hard to fathom, it was a dead instrument. It was like there's this instrument called the serpent, which is this bass, kind of a big bass flute that you wouldn't recognize it if you saw it. That's what the guitar was, that obscure. It had died out. People didn't make them much, no one played them, no one taught it, there were no university programs for it. And he started playing it, he discovered the guitar and he just fell in love with it. And he was obsessed with it, and all he did was play guitar, and he just became amazing at it, playing this dead instrument. And the story about how he got his first professional instrument is a pretty interesting story. And he tells the story, so I'm pretty sure it's true. He was in this luthier's shop, this guy who made violins and guitars, and there was no way he could afford these guitars at all, and he had a really bad guitar at home. And he said, you know, just because I want to know what it feels like, can I play one of these amazing guitars you have in here? And the guy's like, yeah, sure. I know you can't buy it, but go ahead. And so he starts playing it, and it's just, you know, beautiful and entrancing, and it's amazing. And while he's playing it, unbeknownst to him, this violin teacher came into the shop who was friends with the luthier, and he was hearing this playing, and he just couldn't believe it, that he could make this completely untaught musician could make music like that. And when he was done, this teacher talked to him and said, that was amazing. Obviously you have an incredible talent for music, you're completely untrained and you can do that, but you know that playing that instrument is a ticket to nowhere. The guitar, no one plays it, music isn't written for it, that's a waste of your time and your talent. So if you want, I can hear the talent in your fingers and how brilliant you are, you should come to the university and study with me and switch to violin. It's a stringed instrument, it's not that much different, you could very easily pick it up, and I'm looking for people to give scholarships to right now, and I want you to come and study with me. Be a real musician, be a professional musician, don't waste your time on that. And you know, you've got a full ride scholarship, because I think you can catch up really quickly, just your talent is amazing. And he said, well, you know, I really appreciate that, but I'm a guitarist. This is what I do. I know this instrument is kind of a joke, but this is what I do. I play this instrument, I love it. I've tried the other ones, they don't really speak to me. This is what I do. I can't, I don't want to do that. This is, even if I never played to many people, and even that this is a complete joke in my life, this is what I'm going to do with my life. I'm going to be a guitarist. And the violin teacher says, well, you're wasting your time. So that's a real shame that you're doing that, but whatever. And he left. And so, you know, so he hands the guitar back to the guitar maker, and the guitar maker says, no, that's yours. That belongs to you. You're a real guitarist, and I've never heard anyone say anything and have that kind of dedication to it. And so he gave him this instrument, which was probably the equivalent of like a $20,000 instrument. This guy who was absolutely penniless. And that was his professional instrument that he played for years and years and started his concert career as, and became, you know, the father of the modern classical guitar. Neat story, huh? Okay. So I'll play one of the pieces he used to play. All right.